Hey guys, this is going to be a video about tips and tricks for casual players and pro players. So that means this can help anyone, for a person who's just starting or a person who wants to try to enter tournaments or already in tournaments. I'm going to explain some mechanics like vanishes, super jumps, and things that could give you advantages in the game from the start of it until the very end. And some of these things could help you very clutch-like. One of the first things I'm going to start with is vanishing. A lot of people understand that when you are vanished, you are +2 in that situation. But after your opponent's block, sometimes they are able to do a lot of things. Depending on the character you have, your opponent is able to backdash, able to do certain reversals, and able to even punish you depending on what type of things you do after vanish. So usually most people vanish and then mash light attack. A lot of the time, if your character doesn't have a big hitbox with a 5L like Vegito or even Gogeta for an example, they could backdash out of it. But someone like Cell or Goku Black, they have big auto combos, so usually backdashing and they keep mashing the 5L or auto combo is very dangerous. But characters like Jiren, who has a frame 4 counter, there's frame 4 and frame 1 reversals. Jiren has a frame 4 reversal, which he could punish me from it. And what makes a frame 4 reversal pretty good, especially after vanishes, they are able to call an assist after. So for example, they could still do this and call an assist. But if I was able to use my frame 1 counter, I am unable to call out my assist, as you can see on the right side of the screen. And I use my frame call and I could still call an assist and be safe. So even after I do not attack for my frame and they use their frame 4 to protect themselves, they could call an assist and protect them. So I can't punish them properly. Or it'd be very hard to do it. And someone like Hit or Kefla, they come out pretty fast and have a lot of good hits done. Usually characters, to get into the situation to be vanished, right? A lot of the times you could do something before you get put into that situation. So meaning if your opponents are attacking you mid block string, a lot of the times you could reflect like this, for example. And usually that's always the case unless it's a true block string into a beam. So if you see a beam come in and they vanish, it's a true block string, aka it means it gels. But if I'm doing if I'm doing roller crusher, none of that gels. Usually a few things in this game gels into vanish. So that means anything from frame 1, you could punish your opponents. So you don't always gotta reflect. So if you're a character like Jiren, who has a frame 1 counter, he could counter me and actually get big damage from it. You could also do this with level 3 because level 3 is also a frame 1 invincibility move. Another character that could do it is Gogeta. So if Gogeta, I vanish Gogeta, he could EX, he could medium. His medium DP is also frame 1 and he could get a big damage combo off of it. But there's also other characters who doesn't have frame 1 invincibility, aka DP. They have frame 1 anti-air. And since Vanish push you in the air after that scenario, Vanish will put you in the air. After that scenario, a character like Cell, who has a frame 1 anti-air, could get a big punisher from it. So characters like S Brawly, Fat Boo, Tingo, a lot of characters surprisingly could do it. Team Gohan, Adele Gohan, they could punish you from it. And get some of them can even get big damage. And one cool thing about that is that after you condition your opponents will stop vanishing. And so when they 2H you, sometimes they would do this and panish. But now they might just stay there and you could hit them right after it with like a big button move or something like that. We're going to talk about some simple mechanics that a lot of people should have an understanding of it. For example, super jumping, auto blocking. Super jumping is a simple mechanic where you crouch and jump. Before you jump, you crouch, so you get like a higher height. There's a big difference from normal jumping and super jumping, and it's not only height difference. So let me give you an example with normal jumping. So this is normal jumping. I'm holding left and right while jumping, and you see how stiff and how predictable my movements could be. But if you super jump, this is me super jumping straight up, and then I could move front or forward. When I do a normal jumping, I cannot move front or forward in the same way I did with super jumping. And with super jumping, not only that your predicament, your falling is very unpredictable because you go jump straight up and then move backwards, so your opponents can't 2H you or try to start their turn. You also could land a lot slower too. You see how I'm landing a lot slower than this normal double jump? I could also fast fall too, like in Smash Brothers. So I could hold up and float, or hold down and go faster on the ground. So I could go on the ground faster and changes my trajectory so my opponents can't time certain things. Also, when I float, I could get closer to my opponent without touching to the ground. So I could get away with assist calls and stuff like that. Because if I were to double jump, you know, I'll fall right into it, and then it's my opponent's turn. But if I super jump, I could float right over this nonsense and then try to start my turn. You also could keep your second jump, so you could IED, which means air dash. So I could float backwards and then dash right before I land. Because I float, I super jump backwards, hold up to float, so I don't fall down as fast, and then I could dash in and try to surprise my opponent who likes to who likes to be very aggressive. So they just run it in on me, and they gonna try to get me. I could dash in and get them, or float and punish them like that. I could fast fall or change my way to approach. There's another kind of float too, where if you super jump and hold up and hold forward, I could kind of land right in front of her full screen. But if you dash and super jump at the same time, your float, as you can see, is a lot different. When you do float, because I don't think I explained float correctly, when you super jump, you usually hold up. That's how you get the float mechanic. So basically, you are kind of always holding up, but it's a good habit to learn, so you could always have the movement and ability to change the situation up. For example, if your character is Goku Blue, Ginyu, or character who has Larry in the air, you could float high in the air and still keep the momentum. And you see how I'm still floating? And even certain characters like Gogeta, or no, characters who push themselves in the air with their specials now in season 4, it gives them the ability to float. Like Goku Black. When Goku Black teleport, he didn't have that float mechanic, but now he is able to float without doing nothing special. So now he could teleport in the air and float, which helps him get mix-ups, which also helps your body turn in too. A lot of people don't know that. So if I double jump, if I jump over you, you see how my body don't turn? Your body only turns if you double jump, right? But if you float, if you super jump only once, your body will turn either way. So that means I still have my double jump. So I could do this, for example, and cross up with one jump. But if I do that naturally, I don't get the turn, which is very bad. A lot of people don't know that either. Actually, yeah, Cell could do it too. So you see how Cell could float from this. Before he couldn't. He had to just land straight down. But now he could just jump away and float without even touching the ground, which is very good. Now, since we're speaking about jumping and about this floating thing, sometimes doing a normal up back is pretty good too, because the game enables auto blocking. Now, auto blocking may sound strong, but it's mostly for situations for command grabs or characters who like to side switch you like Hit does. We all know we have that Hit player who be spamming his invincibility blue aura thing. Either teleports behind you or do that punch thing, and you either have to guess left or right. Well, you don't have to guess no more, because in this game, when you hold up back, called chicken blocking, and be careful when you chicken block or jump, there's 4 frames or around 4 frames where you are able to not block and get hit. So if you are getting hit, maybe because you are trying to jump in a situation where your opponent is hitting you right before you are jumping. So for example, look at my inputs. I'm be mashing square so you can see there's nothing but lights. Now if I do this correctly, Hit will go behind me, but I will still be holding backwards and still block. You see how I didn't hold no other direction, but Hit wasn't able to hit me? So you could use this information where sometimes Hit players like to do this, or Hit players like to go behind you. Either way, if you're holding up back, both of those moves is not going to hit you. So now if I repeat that, I'm holding up back and up back again, I could actually kind of punish it if that move misses. I know a lot of people complain about Hit, but that's a huge negative input that Hit has, and that gives them a huge disadvantage. Same thing for UI. Goku UI has a bunch of flips, command grabs, and moves that all could be countered by just holding up back. So for example, Hit command grab could also be countered by holding up back. If you see it, look how late I am. And you could also counter it up back. So up back and counters command grabs, cross up moves like UI Goku, Blue Goku, Hit, and it could also help in a situation where your opponent is all over the place, like base Vegeta too. Now we're gonna talk about reflecting. Reflecting has many uses in this game, and you can see a lot of people panic reflect or reflect to get out of sticky situations, but I'm gonna show you the most optimal places to reflect and all the benefits that reflex has. So we're gonna talk about the usage of reflecting in neutral, and not just to throw it out there if you are scared or the pressure is on. So for example, my opponent is gonna throw Kefla Assist. He is plus 30 from this point full screen. But if he calls out Kefla again and I reflect, now he's only plus 21. So that means I'm able to react and do things faster. So now I'm holding up, and you see how much longer it will take for me to jump after a reflect. So you want to reflect out of those situations so you can react faster, so they can't get free pressure on you. Another good thing about reflecting too is that if your opponent makes call an assist, or they put you in a block string and run away, you're unable to call an assist for a while. If you look at the top left where the assist call is, you can see Cell has an X button over it because the game won't let me call an assist. You see how there's an X button? Let's look at it one more time. The game is preventing me from calling my assist because after the block stun happens, the game won't let you call an assist for a very little bit. But if I reflect and call an assist, it won't give me that assist penalty after blocking something. And for people who's out there and wondering why this is a thing, people was able to call in assist right after blocking and was able to take advantage of DP assists and mostly Vegeta A assists back then in season 1 and 2. I think they took it away in season 2 if I'm not mistaken. Fun fact. Now, another thing I like about reflecting that a lot of people don't know is that reflecting actually gives you meter and a good amount of meter too. So let's have Kefla shoot 2 Ki blasts at a time. Now, if you look at my bar, you see how much meter I am gaining? She hit me with 6 Ki blasts and I barely even have 1/4 of a bar. Now, if I reflect these Ki blasts, you see, with just 2 Ki blasts I reflect, I already have 1/4 of a bar. This also counts for assists. This also counts for anything in neutral. And anytime you reflect, like Kefla assist again, for example, not only you are able to react faster, call your assist faster, and you are able to get more meter for reflecting. See, that's me reflecting normally, and this is me not reflecting. It's like a very tiny difference, but those tiny differences could help you get your level 3 faster, able to let you do multiple supers faster, and the more times you could do that, the faster you could kill your opponent. There's different ways to use reflect too, and you know your opponents like Hit, Gogeta, or characters with big buttons who like to mash, right? They like to mash on their auto combo or their big buttons that goes full screen. And even if you reflect, you don't keep them off of you, right? They just be in your face all the time, no matter how many times you reflect. And sometimes they could just stop halfway, and then they could punish your reflex. Now, you know they're gonna mash at least the first part of the auto combo, or like a Gogeta player is gonna go into 5M, 2M, and you reflect the first part of the 5L. If your character has a DP, which means frame 1 invincibility for a reminder, or a level 3, you could do something like this, and they can't vanish or do anything about it. Now, this is more the risky side of playing, and sometimes if you know the character is get out your face, and you want to get out your face, get them out your face safe. Every character is different. Hit is one of those characters who could keep the pressure in, and you don't want to always take the chance. With Gogeta, you could dependent on where you reflect. Sometimes his moves can't always reach. So if you reflect into 5M, you know, you could kind of RPS, that means rock paper scissors, and you could see what decisions that you could do and what they're going to do, and you have to make the better call. And characters like Gogeta, who also has like a DP, you could kind of wait and input the DP button right before you attack, before they attack. So you are acknowledging they are attacking, and you could still input the command, and the move could come out. But if you do it too slow, the worst thing about it is that you just block it. I do that a lot for a lot of the characters, and it's a habit that I have sometimes that could hurt me, but at the same time, it could really help me get out of a sticky situation. It was nice talking with a lot of you guys, and now I am out of here.